Morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is type A or type B, as in being. So it should be an interesting conversation talking about our cultural predisposition to doingness at all costs, the cost of our health, the cost of our mental well-being, the cost of our relationships, etc. And today's conversation is about being and the quality of our lives. So before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light and energy from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's press our palms together. Vigorously rub your hands together to feel the friction, the temperature, the pressure, the motion, the tickling and tingling when you stop, and allow all those sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables us to experience life. Welcome, 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 and good morning. Good morning, Rosalind. So good to have you joining us this morning. And welcome to everybody else who's here with us. Today we are talking about type A or type B, as in being. And this is not it's not an uncommon occurrence that I have conversations with clients about being and doing. And we are so deeply enculturated to doingness, to valuing ourselves and others based on their external accomplishments, not even just accomplishments, but how much money they have, who their what their lineage is, what they've accomplished. I was in sales for years, and it was not uncommon to be present to the notion that you're only as good as your next sale. So there's this constant striving and driving and externalization of value. In other words, we assess our own value and the value of others based on these external metrics rather than just allowing ourselves to be valuable and valued and worthy just by virtue of the fact of our being, that we're here and we're worthy, and just moving from that place. So it was interesting in this conversation because this person is a big time doer and has been trained into the merits of massive action, that's the way to make things work, that you make a certain number of sales calls and you just drive into taking this massive action. And oftentimes that massive, I don't have any problem with action, by the way, but oftentimes that massive action is driven rather than inspired. Most often, I think that massive action is something that is forced, that where we're overpowering our beingness to just drive into a certain result. And I think that what we're talking about is a fundamental difference between power and force. So the type A do person, most often, I'll say most often to give people the benefit of the doubt, are so oriented to the doing that the quality of the being of their lives, their presence in living, is minimized. That they're doing all these things and maybe making a big difference in the world to other people, etc., contributing, but the quality of their beingness, their presence in life, their appreciation of life, their engagement with life is lacking, to be generous. And one of the things that has occupied a lot of my attention for a lot of years is, how do we create a world that works? And I think that we could agree that there are many things in our world that we have created that don't really work. I mean, look at the climate crisis and our contribution to it. Look at the state of the world and ecology and the mass extinctions and war and poverty, and we can call out a lot of things that could use improvement, to say the least, right? That are calling for our attention, but are a direct result of our way of being, or our lack of being in life. So when this person who's very committed to making a difference in the world was having this cognitive dissonance sort of moment, trying to wrap their head around this notion of being, and experienced fearfulness that then they wouldn't be doing the things that they needed to do in the world to get results that they're committed to. So it's an interesting conundrum to conceive of. Stop doing, start being, put your attention on being, and then we're not inactive, we're not stagnant beings. So when we focus on being, what starts emerging is more authentic urges toward creation, that we then have a desire that arises, that is not something that's forced, that is not something that is driven by things we believe we should do, but that is more inspired by the beingness, by the connection, by the presence, by then the ability that emerges from that, the ability to listen. The ability to listen to our heart and soul, the ability to listen to the future calling us forward, to the ability to listen to the world that is calling to us with a need that we can fulfill, versus our imposing our will, our our intent, our preconceptions maybe on the world. So it was really interesting. We were able to do an experiment to even shift the relatedness to certain tasks that needed to be done, or even to the perception of tasks that needed to be done. Because here was this big to-do list, and then settling in, presencing oneself to oneself. We then can look at this laundry list of to-dos and start recognizing that some of those things just don't even belong on the list. Some of those things just get to be removed, that they're not essential, that they're not part of our inner intentionality, but they're something that may have been imposed externally and they're not essential. In other words, what happens is that our hierarchy of relevance or significance shifts, and our relationship to all these things on the laundry list of to-dos shifts from that space of being. And for the things that do need doing, our relationship to that shifts as well. Rather than feeling resentment or resistance around those things, we can connect more deeply with our choice to do them. So the shift to being is a gift that keeps on giving, in that it shifts our relationship to the world and to ourselves and to all the things that we're engaged with in our lives. And another very important, very simple and powerful device that we can use in this shift from doing to being is this. We often say, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have so many things I have to do. And we've talked about this before, but this simple shift of phrase transforms the experience of all those things. Rather than saying, I have to, when we shift to, excuse me, when we shift to saying, I get to, what we're doing is we're shifting our beingness in a very fundamental way. Because when we have to do something, we're at the effect of it. We're kind of the victim of it. We're disempowered. We're in a pattern of obligation and force. We're being forced or overpowered, and we have to do something. It's a way that we give away our power. When we transform that to I get to, all of a sudden, that thing that we get to do becomes an opportunity. It shifts from a burden that's being foisted upon us to a gift that we're being offered. And we can take it even a step further to I'm blessed to, meaning it's not only an opportunity and a gift, but it's an even larger gift, an even deeper gift. It's a blessing. And that simple shift of phrase, that simple turn of phrase, as we feel into the difference between those words and that way of framing a task even, allows us to have an experience of the power of our state in creating the quality of our lives. So as we're able to that simply shift our state of being from I have to I get to, feel into it. It's dramatic. It's a dramatic shift in being. And from that dramatic shift of being, we become more engaged in life. I get to do this. I'm blessed to do this. It shifts us into a space of gratitude, presence, appreciation. If we allow it, if we allow it to be words that we really connect to. I get to do this. When we shift the quality of our being, we shift the quality of our lives, and we also shift the quality of the doing that we do. And the likelihood is that we shift the doing that we do as well. In other words, we shift our priorities around the things we elect to do. Because when we're more present to our being, it gives us greater ability to be discerning. If we're just doing, we're being automatons. We're being dissociated. We're being disconnected. And it's so funny that every time we talk about this, and it's not infrequent, I give you that, but every time we talk about this, I'm reminded of a time when I was meant to be helping someone move. And moving is a challenging, for me anyway, it's always been sort of a challenging, traumatic experience. It could be exciting, but for me, typically in the past, it has not been. Maybe it'll change going forward. Who knows? In fact, maybe I'll make a commitment to say I'm going to bring joy to moving when I'm ready to do that. In any case, this person was so intent on getting it done that they literally were barreling through hallways and like pushing past the people that were there to help. And it was like I literally plastered myself against the wall so as not to get run over. And through this locomotive style attention, they were massively stressed. They weren't present. They weren't present to the opportunity of people around them to help. There was no joy in the experience, and because they were so stressed and joyless, it made it so nobody else could help or be connected. There was a total lack of connection. And it's just such a perfect illustration of doing running rampant, where we get so wrapped up in the task at hand that we lose ourselves, we lose connection. And this whole notion of type B, beingness, is to be present to life, that each moment we breathe, we are alive. And we get to savor, we're blessed to savor the experience of living with all its ups and downs and challenges and tragedies and triumphs. But so many of us, myself included, particularly in the past, would push through circumstances, push through the doingness with an intention to eventually be, after I retire, I'll relax. After I make $1 million, then I'll be happy. I mean, just craziness where we put off living. We don't know that we're not going to step off a curb and break our neck, for example. I mean, not to be gruesome, but we do not know that our lives are going to go on. And so if we don't know that we don't have a guarantee that we're going to be here next year, how about if we live life while we have it? Rosalind says, after I sit down in the chair and nothing happens. I don't get it. So I think we can sit. I'm just going to riff on this because I don't really understand what you mean. But if we sit down in the chair, we're often sitting down in the chair to do something else, right? But what if we sit down in the chair and we feel the chair? It's funny because I just started feeling the chair I'm sitting in. Just started becoming aware of my feet and that they're propped on a little bit of a footrest. Just started becoming aware of the air around me. So the nothingness, nothing happens, is so very much a function of our awareness. And when we're more present to our experience, we can appreciate that. We can savor that. Like, how cool is it to have a chair that maybe supports our back as we're sitting, or that rolls around, to just be present, to take presence breaks. Maybe that's a thing that we can do, is to take presence breaks, to just breathe for a second and take in our experience, because we have this ability, and maybe it's a gift, maybe it's a curse, maybe it's both, of being able to focus. And we become so laser focused that we're able to tune out the rest of the world so that we can focus. And that's awesome. However, it's limiting. It's literally tuning out the rest of the world and the rest of our experience. And I guess what we're talking about with being is to be able to be more present so that we can experience more of our experience, so that we can be responsive to more of our experience, so that we can recognize the opportunities that are presented to us, so that we can savor them more, so that we can engage more directly with life itself. Because that's the foundation, folks. That's what we've got. All the other stuff we're manufacturing, all this human manufacturing of values and importance and work and money and politics and business. That's all manufactured on top of a magnificent, remarkable, wondrous world that we don't even notice. And in fact, just the wondrous world of our own senses, of our own beingness. And I just believe that if we get more in touch with the wonder, if we get more connected to life itself, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be a better world, that we wouldn't be better humans. In other words, being connected, I believe, would make us better people, would make for a better culture, would make for deeper, deeper compassion and connection. So moving from type A to type B, as in being, that's really our invitation and challenge. So have fun with it. That's it for today. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network page and YouTube channel. And I invite you to like, follow, and share me and Enlightened World Network. The links are in the description. And as always, it is my deep, deep, deep pleasure and privilege to have the opportunity to muse with you these mornings about what it is to be human.